Now then, let's work out this analogy. Teaching, I think, will be quite obvious. What's the first thing we have to avoid? Well, it's dissipation of energy. Dissipation of energy. Doesn't matter how much energy you've got, if you misuse it, dissipate it, throw it away, the result will be that you'll have less of it, and you'll become less effective and efficient. This is, I think, quite obvious in the physical realm. Many a man has become weak who was once strong just because he's been overdoing it in various ways. He's overstretched himself, he's overstrained himself, and the result is develops a tired heart, so-called, or a weak heart, and eventually becomes a man who has lost his health and has to exercise great care. Well, now this is equally true in the spiritual realm, and I sometimes think that this is one of the greatest dangers confronting many evangelical people, particularly at this present time. Indeed, I'm quite sure that I'm right in this respect. I was asked not so long ago to address a certain conference of people, Christian evangelical people, and the theme suggested was this very thing that I'm talking about, that a number of Christian people in professions and various other walks of life were troubled about themselves, that they seemed to have lost the edge of their spiritual life, didn't enjoy the Bible as they used to, didn't enjoy praying as they used to, and so on, were unhappy about the spiritual state and condition into which they'd got. Now, I say there are many like that, and I've no doubt at all myself, and no hesitation in asserting, that the commonest cause of that, in my experience as a pastor, is simply due to dissipation of energy. Now, the apostle talks about his own countrymen as having zeal without knowledge. That's not confined to unbelievers. That's quite a common complaint amongst believing people. Zeal without knowledge. By which I mean thoughtless activity. What can well be described as activism. We're all meant to be active. I've already dealt with it. That came into the positive side. And as I pointed out, there's nothing that is so guaranteed to increase our strength as to be active. Yes, but you've got to know how to be active. There's all the difference in the world between a true activity and activism, a true activity and the dissipation of energy. And the way I think to understand this is that our activities must be thoughtful. They must be disciplined. They must be governed. They must be directed. Now, one can well understand this danger and how it comes in. Of course, it happens to be the whole popular teaching at the present time. We must all be doing something. Give the new convert something to do. That's the great phrase, which is, of course, quite unscriptural to start with. The pastoral epistles will tell you almost the exact opposite. They'll tell you not to give a novice things to do, that he's not fit to do them yet, and that it's dangerous for him, that he may be lifted up with pride as the devil was, but it's the controlling teaching. We must all be doing something here, there, and everywhere. Activism. Now, this is a very dangerous condition for the soul, because what generally happens is, as I'm suggesting to you, that such people become overtired. They become overstrained. And what suffers first and foremost is the spiritual tone of their lives. Now, this, you will all agree, is something that happens in every realm and department of life. Any man who overdoes things, I don't care what he's doing, will soon discover that the quality of his work begins to suffer. That's the first thing always that goes, is the quality. A man who preaches too much, who works too hard in the ministry, a man who acts too much, I don't care what he's doing, a man who sings too much, the first thing to go will be the quality. The general public won't recognize this. They won't spot it for some time. The critics will recognize it. They'll say the man's carrying on in a sort of momentum. He isn't on top of it as he used to be. The fineness isn't there. He's losing something. And it's simply because the man's overdoing it. He's getting tired. And the result of this is that he is losing this vital something. Now then, this is, I say, something which is very true in the spiritual realm. And there are many people who, with a very good intention, feeling that they must be doing something to justify their Christianity, often they get into this state because they're afraid of the criticisms of this popular teaching at the present time, that they sit back and do nothing, taking in, not giving out, you know, the glib cliches that are being used so much. Because of their fear of this, they must be doing things. It's a very great problem, this. There are many Christian professional men who are out doing something every night of the week. It's even wrong from the standpoint of family life. But I'm not concerned about that this morning. I'm concerned about the danger to themselves, and they find themselves exhausted. They've got nothing to give in the end, and they're just mechanically doing something. And it is of very little depth. Now, I call all that dissipation of energy. It's unintelligent activity. A man's got to sit down and plan his life. He's got to decide what he can do and what he can't do. And he must be resolute. Doesn't matter what people say. He is the man who's in the best position to know how much he can do, when he's to do it, and where he's to do it. Never allow yourselves to be dictated to by others. Don't allow the thing to do to determine what you do. We must always be in charge, I say, of ourselves, lest we become weary and tired and exhausted simply through dissipating, throwing away our energy. Well, now, this isn't the only way in which this happens. It's, I say, the commonest of all, but there are many other ways. Isn't there a danger to some of us that we dissipate a lot of energy in just talking too much? Constant talking so much that we never stop to think, that we never stop to meditate. We're all great talkers, and we all talk far too much, and we waste a lot of energy. Conversation can be very tiring, very exhausting, and through sheer talk, there are many people who find themselves in spiritual trouble. No, we must learn to follow the exhortation of the Scriptures. Think more.